grade 12s. Today we'll join Lebogang and Thandi as they decide which bus service company to use for their trip to the zoo.
The trip to the zoo is next week, Mr. Khoza. It has to be finalized now. Yeah, but I have to book whichever bus service you guys decide on. No, I can't wait for your suggestions any longer. Now, goodbye.
And?
You know, the time it takes these teachers to plan a simple trip to the zoo, I could have taken the kids overseas.
Need some help?
No. Actually, yes. You're such a pal.
And a math literate one. What can I do?
Well, we have to calculate the distance from the school to the zoo, then compare the rates from the various companies.
Sounds simple. Come, let's go. Okay, I'll give you the distances from school to the zoo. From the school to the highway, that's 15 kilometers.
15.
And then 30 kilometers to the turnoff, plus 18 kilometers from there to the zoo. That gives us 63 kilometers.
63 kilometers in total. So we can compare the rates from different companies in a table.
Why the table?
Because it makes comparison much easier and information more accessible. Okay, look at these faxes and just read out the rates to me. Okay, 4 companies quoted me, so I need 5 columns. Okay. Okay, let's fill the headings in. And here, I'll put the criteria we judge them on. Each of these companies has a minimum cost, but then again, they give us 3 kilometers. Then there's distance away.
What's distance away?
Well, the companies start counting your kilometers from the moment the bus leaves the depot, so their distance away from us is quite important. Once we've used up all the 3 kilometers, then they start charging a rate per kilometer. Okay, now give me the different rates.
Can't I ride for a change?
Nah, hang on.
Well, Speedy's transport charges a minimum of 950. Vusi's buses, 1,200 rands. And GHL charges 1,900 rand. Tutani, 1,550 rand. 8 rands for Tutani.
That's it.
Take a careful look at the table showing the quotes from the 4 bus companies. Just by looking at the table of data, can you make a decision about which company would be the best one to choose for the field trip to the zoo? You may think that choosing the company with the lowest initial cost would be best, or the one that gives the most free kilometers, or the one that is closest to the school or charges the lowest rate per kilometer. Although each of these shows some good ideas, we need to consider all these factors.
Now, to make sense of all this, we must do a few sums.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with Speedy's transport. What you do is write 2 times 63 plus 35 minus 100.
No, please don't give me numbers. Tell me why.
Okay. You add 63 kilometers, that's the distance the school is from the zoo, to the distance the company is from the school, because they start charging the moment the bus leaves the depot. In Speedy's case, 35 kilometers from us.
And?
Well, then you multiply by 2, because we have to come back to the school, obviously, and the bus has to go back to the company, so that's a return trip.
Thank you. Thank you. Now it's getting clearer.
We're gonna feel it.
Yeah, I'm impressed. That's the right way of writing it. Now put it in a new table.
For a quick access, I've got it. I've got it. Yeah.
Then you minus 100, because Speedy's transport gives us 100 free kilometers. And okay, the answer would be, it's 96 kilometers.
96 kilometers. Okay, these are the kilometers, 96 kilometers. So we have to pay for 96. So 10 rands per kilometer. So we multiply 10 rands by 96. And that gives us 960 rands.
Okay, now add that to the minimum cost these guys charge you, which is 950. That is 1,910.
This table summarizes the calculations Lebogang and Thandi have made for Speedy's transport. Can you complete the table by doing the same calculations for Vusi's bus? Here is Vusi's quote. Lebogang did the same calculations. Let's see what conclusions he made and what answer he calculated.
Wait a minute. We can stop right there. This guy is only 10 kilometers away from us and is giving us 153 kilometers.
No jumping to conclusions. Yes, he's giving us more kilometers than we need. Give me that chalk. That's what you do.
How can you just cross that out?
Well, my answer is less than 0, so there's no charge for kilometers. We can't pay less than the minimum charge, so let's just get cracking with the others.
Okay.
It's definitely this one, Vusi's buses. They're the most cost effective. Now we're done.
You know, working out the cost for a trip reminds me of going on holiday. I could do with a safari or something. So if we want to go somewhere else, we have to do this all over again.
Well, not if we had a graph. Well, the learners can make one for us in their math literacy class.
Let's stop and think about Thandi's suggestion. Before we draw a graph, we need to look at the initial quotes given by each bus company again. Let's focus on Vusi's bus service to start with because it was the most cost-effective for hiring for the trip to the zoo. For short trips less than a total of 150 kilometers, you would pay the same price, 1,200 Rand. When we draw a graph, we are showing a relationship between variables. The cost of hiring a bus definitely depends on the number of kilometers traveled. Let's represent the number of kilometers by X and the total cost by Y. When we draw a graph, the number of kilometers will be on the horizontal X-axis and the total cost will be on the vertical Y-axis. To show that the cost for the first 150 kilometers remains constant, we can draw in the line Y equals to 1,200. The relationship between cost and the number of kilometers changes after we have reached 150 kilometers. We can write down an equation for this relationship by analyzing the table of values. We can say that the cost Y equals the rate per kilometer, 8,29 times the total number of kilometers, X minus the 153 kilometers. Notice you must put the number of kilometers minus the 3 kilometers in brackets because we only pay for kilometers when X is greater than 150. Of course, we mustn't forget the minimum cost of 1,200 Rand, so we add this to the equation. When we use the equation for kilometer values greater than 150, we get a straight line that slopes upwards. Now that we have established the equation and drawn the line graph to show the relationship between cost of hiring a bus and the number of kilometers traveled using Vusi's bus, do you think you can draw similar graphs for other bus companies? All the data you need is in the table. It would be very useful to draw all these relationships on the same axes. Compare the graphs you have drawn to mine. Notice that the line that is closer to the x-axis represents the most cost-effective quotation for different distances. In this lesson, we have calculated the cost involved in hiring a bus for a field trip.
Thank you for joining us, Grade 12s. Remember, the task for this section can be found in the Finance of Business task video. You'll also be able to learn more on our website, www.mindset.co.za/learn. Goodbye.